Hi, I'm Caroline Schiff, a Brooklyn-based pastry chef, and I am here with Cherry Bombe and Free People today in the kitchen to make sage, maple, and aged cheddar scones for the holidays. These scones are my go-to holiday scone. They have all of those warming, wintry flavors. They're a little sweet, they're a little savory, they're kind of everything you want in a baked good. I love them because they're really effortless. They're so easy. You can make these with your family and you can have people coming in and out of the kitchen. They go great with a holiday meal. They're just really versatile. Okay, so let's get started. With scones, I always want to start with the dry ingredients. I'm gonna start with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And just kind of gently level it off. You don't want to pack it in. I'm gonna add my kosher salt and baking powder. And now I'm gonna add freshly cracked black pepper. It's really important that it's fresh because you want that fragrant bite. It's about a teaspoon. Honestly, I don't necessarily measure it. I just kind of eyeball it. The pepper balances out with the maple so beautifully. It's spicy sweet. Fresh sage is absolutely a must. Don't use dried. And we want about 2 tablespoons. Again, this is not something I really measure. The best way to cut an herb like sage that has these big, beautiful, broad, velvety leaves, I like to stack them up on my cutting board and just kind of roll them up as best I can into a tight little bundle. And then with my knife, I'm just gonna go through and cut very fine little ribbons. We call that a chiffonade. A sharp knife is your friend here because otherwise you can kind of bruise the herbs as opposed to really just slice them neatly. So just very carefully go through. You can see you get these beautiful fine little ribbons of sage, and the smell is, it's so good. Just with your hands, get in there, don't be scared. Your hands are honestly, they're the best tool in the kitchen. I just kind of toss that all together, just make sure everything is incorporated and there's no big lumps of sage and whatever. Now we're gonna add grated sharp cheddar, and then we're gonna add cubes of butter. It's super important that your butter is well chilled. So I like to cut it and then put it back into the fridge while I'm doing all this other stuff. Chilled butter is important for the texture of the scones. You'll get these nice flaky, buttery pockets as opposed to a kind of deflated scone. You don't want a flat, deflated scone. You want a nice, fluffy, perky scone. Now we're gonna add the aged cheddar. Pick good cheese. Pick a aged cheddar that you love the taste of. This is not the time to use whatever mild cheddar. Get the good sharp stuff. Just gonna add it to our dry mixture. And again, with your hands, just toss it through. And it's really important to, again, use good butter in a scone. That's what makes it flaky and rich. So get the good stuff. Get European butter, high fat content, and I'm just gonna add it and then get in there with my hands, and I just kind of wanna pinch the butter into the flour. Toss it around, and then each cube, just kind of pinch it and release. And you're looking for these flat sort of sheets of butter almost, little pinched nuggets. Do not want to overwork this. You want some butter chunks in there. If you overwork it, the butter is gonna get hot, it's gonna get melty. You don't want that kind of mealy, rough texture. Scones are a very rustic baked good, so you're really not looking to work it too much. The liquids that we're gonna add to this are heavy cream, maple syrup, real dark maple syrup. I'm gonna take out a little bit of each, set it aside, and that's gonna make a really easy, simple glaze, wash that we're gonna put on the top of the scones. 2 tablespoons of each, and just set them aside in this little mixing bowl. And now I'm gonna add all of the cream to our mixture, and a tablespoon of the maple syrup. You're noticing a theme here. I like fatty things. They're just so good. And then just 1 tablespoon of the maple syrup is gonna go in the mix as well. And you don't wanna over mix it, so just until it's all gonna hold together. Like it's gonna be shaggy, a little sticky because of the maple syrup. We're gonna dump it out onto our floured work surface. People always ask me like, oh, how much bench flour do you use? I just say like, use as much as you need. Like if the dough is getting really sticky and difficult to work with, add a little more. This looks perfect. I am just gonna bring this into a circle that's about 8 inches in diameter. You don't have to measure it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can get a rolling pin involved. And that's kind of it. I don't really worry about the edges being too perfect. Like a scone is a rustic baked good. Now I'm gonna cut it into 8 wedges right down the center. And if it needs a little flour, you can dust your whatever you're cutting with a little bit of flour. There's something so satisfying about cutting scone dough. I don't know what it is. It's like something about like seeing like all the chunks of butter and stuff. I don't know. Now I'm gonna transfer them to a parchment lined baking sheet and we're gonna chill them. It's a little bit delicate, but don't worry if, you know, a little chunk falls apart or something. You can always just like patch it back together. Scone dough is very forgiving. So they're gonna chill in the fridge. And, oh, you have to preheat your oven. 375 with a rack in the middle. So we have our beautiful glaze that is half maple syrup, half heavy cream. It's just gonna create a nice, like shiny top, and it's also gonna help the cheese and the flaky salt kind of stick to the scones. You just wanna brush the top of each and make sure you get a good coating. I usually do 2 coats, you know, just in case. And this is gonna melt and get all bubbly. It's really important to use like a super coarse flaky sea salt where you can see all the beautiful salt crystals. It just adds like an incredible like bright savoriness to whatever you're doing. Okay, we are ready to bake. Going into the oven, again, 375 for about 30 minutes. Waiting has been the hardest part, obviously, but our scones are ready. They are beautiful. I've let them cool a little bit, but I do like to serve them while they're still warm. So all that's left to do is plate them up. And at this point you can gather your friends and family, but you probably won't have to because they will have smelled them and they're gonna be like hovering around you anyway, so. Thank you, Free People. Thank you, Cherry Bombe. Thank you to all of you for watching and joining me today. Baking is my love language. It's how I nurture people. It's how I take care of my friends, my family, people I love. And I hope you'll do the same with these scones.